And you're pretty much done with this box. Just go ahead and click OK. And as you can see, it is now taking up your full screen. What you're going to do is you're going to hold Alt and then drag these corners down to crop the browser. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna crop it just so it's showing the number, and you don't want to go like right to the edge of it, and you'll see why in just a second. So just leave a little bit of space. As you see, I'm leaving a little bit of room, because if you happen to go up like, you know, from 1000 to 2000, the number 2 takes up a lot more space than the number 1, and you don't want it cutting off. Just basically leave a little bit of room, but not too much, of course. So this is good right here. As you can see, it's got the number. We are good to go, and it is actually a live subscriber count. So as you can see, I just unsubscribed on my other account, and it has went down. By the way, the cool part about this is that you can close the window and you don't even have to open that up ever again. And it is a live subscriber count. So I have another account that I'm subbed to on my channel. So as you can see, if I unsubscribe, it goes down, and if I resubscribe, it goes right back up. Now most people would just leave it at this ugly color, and they'd put it like, you know, somewhere on their screen, wherever. But I actually have my own trick that I like to do that not a lot of people know, and it's super simple. I'll show you guys how to do it right now. What you're gonna do is you're gonna right click on your browser source and then click filters, and then once you do that, on the bottom left, click the plus icon and then click color key and then click OK. Next to key color type, change that from green to custom color, and then you'll see these two boxes that come up. Click on select color and then colors, and then click filters, and then once you do that, on the bottom left, click the plus icon and then click color key and then click OK. Next to key color type, change that from green to custom color, and then you'll see these two boxes that come up. Click on select color, and then in this window you're going to see pick screen color. Click that, and then your cursor will be this like, well, it's not anymore, but you'll see that if you hover over stuff, this box right here is going to change colors. So go and click on any of this background area on your window where it shows the live subscriber count. Just go ahead and click that, and then you'll see that it changed, and then click OK. Now as you can see, the background isn't completely gone. There's still a little bit coming through. You could still see there's a little bit of outline right there, and to fix that, it's super easy. All you're then click OK. Now as you count, if you hover over stuff, this box right here is going to change colors. So go and click on any of this background area on your window where it shows the live subscriber count. Just go ahead and click that, and then you'll see that it changed, and then click OK. Now as you can see, the background isn't completely gone. There's still a little bit coming through. You could still see there's a little bit of outline right there, and to fix that, it's super easy. All you're going to do is you're going to copy these settings exactly where it says contrast right here. Slide this all the way down to the left so it's at -1, and then the smoothness bar right here, slide this all the way to the right so it's at 1000, and then the similarity bar, slide this all the way to the left so it's at 1, and then you are completely done. As you can see, even if we zoom in a lot, there's pretty much nothing left, and most likely you're going to have this sub count like super small, like something like this, like that, and even then you literally cannot notice a difference. Now let's say you want a background to this. I like having a white, so nothing left. Done. There will be this like, well, it's not anymore, but you'll see that if you hover over stuff, this box right here is going to change colors. So go and click on any of this background area on your window where it shows the live subscriber count. Just go ahead and click that, and then you'll see that it changed, and then click OK. Now as you can see, the background isn't completely gone. There's still a little bit coming through. You could still see there's a little bit of outline right there, and to fix that, it's super easy. All you're going to do is you're going to copy these settings exactly where it says contrast right here. Slide this all the way down to the left so it's at -1, and then the smoothness bar right here, slide this all the way to the right so it's at 1000, and then the similarity bar, slide this all the way to the left so it's at 1, and then you are completely done. As you can see, even if we zoom in a lot, there's pretty much nothing left, and most likely you're going to have this sub count like super small, like something like this, like that, and even then you literally cannot notice a difference. Now let's say you want a background to this. I like having a white background, you know, just to make it pop a little bit, and I'll even add a border, but for the sake of this video I'm not going to do that. I'll show you guys how to add like an image, or you know, just basically how to add any overlay you want. So all you're going to do is you're going to go down here, click this plus icon, and then click image, and then click OK, and then right here you'll see this, it says browse. Go ahead and click that, and then look for whatever image it is. Now I'm going to show you why I like using the white background right here. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm gonna drag this under that so you can see it. And as you can see, it already is popping a lot. You can just, it's just a lot more noticeable, so you could just crop that by holding Alt, like I said. Yeah, that is pretty much it. And of course you can add your border to make it look a lot nicer, but this is just an example. But anyways guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If it did help you out, you all know what to do. Be sure to leave a like, and it would help me a lot if you went down below and subscribed and shared this with a friend who you know would really enjoy this and would really enjoy improving their stream. But yeah guys, hope this helped. I will see you all in my next video. This has been Oda, and I'm out. Peace out, everybody. I hate
Fine. Should have seen this coming. I've only been talking about Stream Elements non-stop for like years now, and you guys do have a lot of questions about it. And that's fair. It's an amazingly powerful system, but the interface is super unique, different from all the other services, and it can be overwhelming. I get that. So today, let's get you from start to finish, setting up a professional stream with alerts and widgets and all the things, and like, see if we can do it in 10 minutes. All right, let's jump into this video. The first thing I'm gonna need you to do is type in your most commonly used password that you use for all your accounts in the comments down below. You had a password come to mind, didn't you? Stop doing that. Look guys, it's 2020. If you don't have a password manager yet, what are you doing? NordPass, who by the way is the sponsor of today's video, can generate strong, unique passwords for all your accounts, sync them across all your devices, and autofill them with a single click, or tap, depending on the device you're on. And plus, if you're watching this and you're like, oh shoot, I do use the same password for all my accounts, what I do now? You just go to nordpass.com/alphagaming or use code alphagaming at checkout, get 50% off. That makes it like $249 a month, plus you get a month for free. And you know what? If your password is password,
they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it.
Link to your NordPass discount in the description below. Also, if you enjoy this video, but maybe there were a couple questions that I didn't quite answer, feel free to jump into my Twitch stream. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and we talk all about these kind of things. Link in the description. Cool. Let's get started. 10 minutes on the timer down below, Sam. Pro tip, by the way, if you wait to log into your dashboard until my face pops up right here, Stream Elements will actually run faster. Trust me. Cool, we're in, and you start off with the dashboard here where you see all your stats. Over on the left here, you can see a merch store you can set up. This is where you set your donation settings, even your chat bot, which you can name whatever you want, by the way. But we're gonna be focusing on the overlays, because this is where you set up all of your alerts, text and overlays and widgets, all the stuff that makes your stream look professional. We're even going to go into some cool custom stuff like the subtrain or the rotating widget that we have on our streams. So let's click on my overlays, and you can see that mine is a mess. Yours is probably blank because I have a tendency to build new ones and then never delete the old ones. What are you going to do? Let's just start fresh and create a blank overlay up here. First thing you're going to do is set your resolution to whatever the canvas in OBS is. So my canvas is 1080p. So I make an overlay that's 1080p. Easy peasy. We're going to name this our super cool alerts. Cool. The way Stream Elements works is it gives you a blank canvas here for you to add all of your text and all of your widgets and all of your alerts and all the things onto it, and then you take this one browser source and slap it in OBS, which is super convenient, but someone moving from something like Streamlabs or something has never seen anything like this before. So let's add a widget to it, and we're gonna add an alert box. This is the first thing you're gonna wanna do. And here we go, just so you can see what this is doing. If I click on emulate and add a follower alert, hey, there's my follower alert. Where do I wanna place this on the screen? Let's maybe throw it above my camera over here. Just so you can see what this did, let's go ahead and throw this in OBS real quick. So if I click this copy overlay URL here, go into OBS, add a browser source. We're going to call this SE for Stream Elements. We're going to make sure that the width and the height is the same as what we set it to, which is 1080p or 1920 by 1080. Remember when we set it to 1080p earlier? And we're going to make this our URL. Now you can see when we emulate a follower alert, well, nothing actually happens because you have to save it first. Let's save it. There we go. It's saved. Now when we emulate a follower alert, hey, look at that. We got a follower alert right up in the corner. Looks perfect. Look at this. We're on our way. Now let's say you want to change the follower alert to a different animation that you've got set on your desktop. You can click the little gear here next to follower alert, and it brings you to all the settings. You can set an image, you can set it to a video if you have like a WebM file, for example. You can even go into all the text settings and change exactly where the text is placed, and the font, and the color, and all the things. All the things are in here. This is where we completely customize our follower alerts. Then we can go into here and customize our subscriber alerts, blah, 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 blah. You get the point. Couple pro tips about alert boxes, by the way. Let's say you got your follower alerts, all your alerts over here, but you want your sub alerts to do something different on this side. You can actually go into alerts, add another alert box. And with this one, we're going to turn off everything except subs. And if we go back into our layers, we have our original alert box here, and we're going to turn off subs. So this one on the right won't display subs. This one will only display subs. So now I can have a follower alert on this side, and as soon as that's done, you get a subscriber alert on the left side. There you go. And another big pro tip, by the way, you'll probably notice we had to wait until the follower alert ended before we could play the sub alert. This happens a lot when I raid people and they get like 100 followers and then someone like drops bits and subs, but because it has to get through the 100 follower alert first, it takes like 15 minutes to show the bits and the subs. What you can do is actually create two separate overlays. Let's save this. We can go back here, create another overlay and make that just subs or subs and bits or whatever. So this one can play all of your follower alerts, and the other one will play your subs and bits, and they can actually go at the same time. This is actually why I have my sub alerts in their own overlay, because I want to make sure they show up the moment someone subscribes. Okay, let's add the next thing. Let's throw in some text. If you want to show maybe your most recent follower, your most recent donator, your most recent whatever. Go to labels down here. Let's add in the most recent subscriber. You can see all these options too, by the way. Here's a list of your most recent subscribers. Here's your latest one. Here's your latest brand new sub, latest resub. They're all here. Let's just do the most recent one. And you notice, by the way, you don't have to use a separate app to do text. Like Streamlabs has Stream Labels. Muxy had the Muxy Ticker, where you had to have an app running in the background and then import that file into OBS. And you know that default OBS text. You know when someone's using Streamlabels. That's the ugliest font. In Stream Elements is all just done right in here in the browser. I feel like I should disclose, by the way, this video isn't sponsored by Stream Elements. They don't even know I'm making it. I just think very highly of their tools, and it's probably sounding sponsored. It's not. So now we have our most recent sub. Let's throw it right in the top middle here, maybe. We can change all the text settings right here. I'm pretty sure this accesses Google Fonts, so you have just about any Google font you want to use. We have always used Passion 1, although I'm starting to get a little sick of that one. It's a little bit too bubbly for me. And let's change this so it says latest sub. Easy peasy. Now whenever someone subs, this will update to the most recent subscriber. This is also the place, by the way, where you can do a total sub count, just like that. Now we got our latest sub. We got total subs. The font is different, so it looks gross, but you get the point. Big pro tip for this, by the way. If you go to your own stream, take a screen grab of the stream itself, then you can import in static and custom here an image, and we're going to upload that image that we just took. There we go. So now we've got our stream as a template, and we can move stuff around knowing how it's going to look on the stream. So let's shrink this down a little bit. There we go. Throw that right above the top there. And the final step of this is you go into the layers, you make it invisible, make sure you set it to the bottom so everything is layered on top of it, and now you kind of have this semi-transparent background of your stream so you can fit, like let's take these here, let's take the latest sub, total subs, put it right below the camera there, and when I say this, you can see the text and the alerts show up over here, but the background template that we're using to shape everything doesn't. So now it's going to be really easy to organize all of your alerts and text over your stream because you know what it's going to look like when you're live. All right, let's set a follower goal. We're going to go to labels. We're going to go to followers goals, follower goal right there. Just to get it to match the aesthetic, we're going to go with a condensed version. We're going to make it white. We're going to make the text black. Ooh, that's looking nice. And let's shrink this thing in. There we go. I think I beat my goal. Let's set the goal to 200,000. There we go. There we go. Shrinks off. Let's make that background color also white, but just like a slight gray. Ooh, that's nice. Yeah, I like that a lot. Now, another way you can do a goal, by the way, that's even easier. If you want something super simple, like let's take my total subscribers over here, right? Let's go back to that text, total subscribers. We'll go to settings, and here you can add /3000. Let's make it a little larger so we got some extra space over there. And now we've got a sub goal that we can go in and real quickly update whenever we want, and it's going to show up just like that. One thing I've done is I've taken my charity donation goal and I've made it its own overlay, and it's actually a pretty small thing. It's only, I think, 200 pixels by 800 or something like that, and I create everything in here. You can see this is an image file, this is a text file, this is an actual donation tracker here with an extra slash that I've added in, and then here's the bar with all the text taken off of it. So now I've got a completely separate source in OBS just with my donation goal, so I can custom move it wherever I want right in my preview window here. If you're looking to get really creative with a couple elements of your stream, making a separate overlay that you can control individually is a really cool way to do it. And the very last thing I want to mention, with hopefully not going over 10 minutes, I bet it's been like 15, it is what it is that Stream Elements has something here called a custom widget that is essentially blank right off the bat, but it gives you a custom editor here. So if you're familiar with programming, you can write in your own HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I don't actually know how to do that. However, I've met a lot of people on the internet who do, and they made some really cool stuff. For example, we've got our custom subtrain widget. We've got our rotating feed widget. This is how Sam and I have our custom HUDs on our streams. They're all just overlays built into the custom editor in Stream Elements. And as a bonus, if you'd like to add any of these custom widgets to your stream, just go into the Alpha Gaming Discord, go to free designs over here, and as you scroll through these, you'll see a handful of them. Here we go. Here's our custom subtrain. We should probably get rid of these mixer ones. We've got it for Twitch and YouTube. If you're a Facebook streamer and you really want a Facebook version, let us know. We can tweak it for that too. And this is where you can find the train and the rotating feed. 2 custom widgets that we've made that we're giving to you for free. If you click this button, it just adds the widget right in as another overlay on your channel, and you're set. And just in the editor, you control exactly what you want the train to look like, whether you want to be in line mode like this, or you want to use custom widgets and sprites or animations like this, where I have a little Charmander running into a Pokeball. So take some time, explore all the things that you can put on your stream. For example, you've got a hype cup if you want. You've got countdowns, giveaways. Throw them all on there. See what you like, see what you don't like. Play around with it. I hope this was less than 10 minutes. Did we make it? Sam, put text on here. This took like 40 minutes of filming, so I have no idea if we made it in under 10 minutes. I guess I'll find out. I hope this was helpful. A reminder, I do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. If you have any more questions, feel free to jump into my stream. And as always, happy streaming. Something like that. It's Harris reading. Doing something fun today. This is a video that's been on my request list for probably the longest. But there's just been so much exciting stuff happening lately with the new Stream Beats drop and, you know, Mixer getting shut down. All those things that I haven't quite found the time to do this one. OBS. The streaming software that nearly every streamer uses. Some of you guys use it really well. Some of you guys not so much. And then some of you are just opening it up for the first time and are completely overwhelmed and have no idea what anything means. There are so many cool things in OBS that no matter which of those people you identify with in your skill set of OBS, there's always something new to learn. So let's go through the software. Let's just build a stream together. I'll show you the bare bone basics, like setting up multiple scenes, knowing which settings are important within the vast array of options in the settings tab that you've probably seen before. And I'll show you some of my favorite, more advanced tips and tricks that are actually really easy to do if you just know what to click on. Things like custom widgets and hotkeys to switch scenes automatically. Sounds good? Go. By the way, huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Owns.tv. They are your one-stop shop for all your stream aesthetic needs, whether it's overlays or alerts or panels or whatever. And one of my favorite things about it is that their overlays are modular. So for example, if you and all your friends want a similar overlay and you pick up this minimalist series overlay you're looking at right now, each of you can pick and choose different pieces of the overlay to use. So even though you'll all be using the exact same theme, none of you will have the exact same overlay. If you'd like to make the smart move like many from the community have done, feel free to use the link in the description down below. That link also supports the channel when you use it. And then on top of that, if you want 40% off, use code ALPHA at checkout. So the goal of this video is within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so, set up a live stream that looks comparable to the one that I use when I go live on Twitch, which by the way, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Link to that in the description down below. Come hang out. Sound like a plan? Awesome. So with OBS launched and completely bare bones, this is what it looks like. Now it's weird, you got a bunch of weird boxes, you've got some stuff here with milliseconds, and you got a bunch of little buttons here. In the beginning, all we're gonna look at is this area, which is our preview. It shows us what our stream looks like, and these two areas right here. These are all your different scenes, so you can have a gameplay scene here that has your gameplay and your camera over in the corner, and then you can have an intermission scene here, which would be obviously between games, when you can blow your camera up larger and interact with your chat a little bit more. And as you switch between them, the different sources are all the elements inside that scene. So essentially, these are folders with all the different things in it. Let's start by making our gameplay scene. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rename this scene gameplay, so I know which one it is. So we got our scene. Let's add in a source. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our display. So right off the bat, I know this is a little bit Inception-y because we're looking at our display, which also shows our display, which you get the point. And here we can see our entire screen and what it's capturing. So we're gonna hit OK, and you can see anything I might bring up, whether it's my Stream Deck software or whatever, it's gonna show up right here. Anyone that's watching my stream can see my screen now. Now there are a couple different ways of capturing your screen. One more that you should be aware of. Another one, instead of using display capture, would be game capture. You can see if I add this in, if you have a game open, you'll be able to choose that specific game, or you can say choose any full screen application, which is, you know, usually you play your games in full screen. It'll grab whatever game is running, but it won't grab anything else. So this way, if you alt-tab out of your game or minimize it to open up something in YouTube, your audience isn't going to be able to see it because it's only capturing your gameplay. However, the advantage to this is game capture is a lighter load on your PC. So if you're running a little bit more of a budget PC and trying to game and stream on it at the same time, it might be best to use game capture. You'll notice fewer dropped frames on your stream. So now you can see here I've got two different sources in here, game capture, display capture. I'm going to get rid of game capture by hitting this little minus button right there. And we're going to stick with game capture because I got a pretty beefy PC over here. All right, let's add in the most important part. Let's add in your face. So whether you're using a webcam or a DSLR going into a capture card, those are all called video capture devices. So we're gonna name this one webcam. You can see if I click on device, it'll show me every single video input source that the computer recognizes. So if I had another webcam plugged in here, it would show up right in here. But we're using my EOS R connected to my Camlink right now, and so we're gonna go with Camlink 4K. And generally, device default is fine, but if you need to go to custom and do a custom resolution, that's an option for you. Let's shrink this down because it's our gameplay scene. We're gonna put it over here. I'm trying to like move this so you don't get that weird Inception-y stuff. I'm trying to cover it with the webcam. Maybe make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, maybe something like that. If I were gaming, I'd probably zoom in a little bit more during this scene. And there we go. We got our gameplay. We got our camera. Honestly, that is the bare bones that you can start a stream like that and people will enjoy it. Now, one thing to note is that the order of the sources is important. So you can see right now my webcam is on top of my display capture. And that's entirely because my webcam is on top of my display capture. If I drag it underneath it, look at that. I bring it back up, it goes back on top again. Make sure you're ordering your sources in the order of front to back. So next thing, let's grab an overlay. So we want to add another source, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a static overlay, a non-animated overlay, and it's just going to be an image. Call it camera border. So we're going to browse for an image file, which I've got one right on the desktop called white line camera border. And it's just a simple white rectangle. Which, by the way, you do whatever you want. This is where you get to be creative. I would recommend not going overboard and keeping these things simple. This is actually pretty similar to what mine is currently set to. I'm going to turn off the display capture with this, just so I can see the edges of the camera a little bit easier. I can use the arrow keys to move it one at a time. Cool. Let's turn this back on. Now we got a camera border. And we can do something pretty cool here. We can take the camera border and the webcam and we can group them. We're just gonna call them cam. And now I can move, I can stretch this whole thing. It'll all work together. Now if I wanted to add an animated border, I would go to add and I would go to media source, which is where you import videos. And we're gonna call this animated overlay. So here's one that I got during a Fiverr video that I shot a while ago. A Fiverr artist animated this for me. You can see it's really subtle, it's simple, but it's kind of stylized. You got this little thing moving, you got this little thing flashing here. So if you wanted to add an animated overlay, that's where you'd find it. But I'm gonna get rid of it by hitting this little minus button. There's one more thing to add to this scene to make it a fully featured gameplay scene, and that's gonna be our alerts. So whether you use Streamlabs or Stream Elements, whenever you're done customizing your alerts, they pop you out a browser source, right? Or a URL. So for example, if I were to go to Stream Elements, which is the service I use. So here we can see I've got my sub alerts. This is what they look like. I'm going to copy the link from Stream Elements. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to add one more source. It's going to be a browser source. We're going to call it sub alerts. We're going to paste that URL right in there. We're going to make sure the width and height match what we have it set to in our alert software. So that alert in Stream Elements was a 1080p alert, and hit OK. And now if I emulate another subscriber, you can see on my scene here, let's put them just right. There we go. Got a little Charmander jumping up and doing an alert on my camera. And also we're gonna throw this inside our camera scene. So that way, again, if we move this around, our alerts come with us. And this is now a solid gaming scene. You got your camera, you got your gameplay, you got a little bit of a design added to it, and you've got your alerts for when people follow or sub or drop bits or whatever. From there, it's just kind of whatever you feel like adding. And browser sources can be really cool. The majority of fancy widgets that you put on your scene are done in a browser widget. So for example, I worked with this really talented widget designer named AC Pixel who made this now playing scene. So you can see if I play Neon Renegade from Streambeats, I can show my chat exactly what I'm playing. And all I have to do is launch this widget, take the URL, create a new browser source, which we will call now playing, and paste it in there. And he told me this is also 1920 by 1080. And there it is. You move it around, resize it if we want a little now playing widget in the bottom left of the screen. Now it's right there. So there you go. You got a really cool now playing widget. You can hear the music playing in the background, and it took me like 15 seconds. So let's jump to the next thing. Let's set up a second scene here. We're gonna hit the plus button right here. We're gonna name it intermission, which is, in my opinion, the most important scene. A lot of people think your gameplay scene is the most important one because it's probably showing the most. But in reality, when you have your gameplay scene up, they're there to watch your gameplay and see you in the corner. And your intermission screen is when you're interacting with your audience. It's where it's about the actual engagement. And so I think this is the one that you should spend the most time on. Now you can see I can click back and forth. The intermission scene is empty because we haven't set anything up yet. But when you click on one, it changes scenes. Now let's do one thing first. The most important part of an intermission screen is the camera. So we're gonna go back to video capture device, and you can see it shows you which ones you've already made. So instead of making a whole new source, you can add an existing source, and here's our webcam. And just like that, we have our webcam full screen for our intermission. And if I click back and forth, you can see how it works. One thing I'm not crazy about is this crossfade transition. I want to do something really cool. So let's move over here to scene transitions. And right now it's set to fade with 300 millisecond duration. And you can see if I change this to 1,000, see how slow that is? If I change it to 100, super fast. So we're going to add a new transition in here, and you can see there are a handful of options. If you want to do a swipe one, you can swipe left, you can preview it here. I hate those. I think they're terrible. Very few people should use them. Let's add a stinger transition. Stinger transitions are the ones with custom animations. These can be fantastic tools for your stream. They're one of the elements that makes your stream look like you put a lot of effort into it. I would even say they're one of the few times that you can kind of go overboard and do something over the top and people will still enjoy it. Here's the Fiverr transition. I don't remember what it looked like. Oh, it was this one. That's right. I remember now. So you can see if I hit preview transition, it shows me two scenes. But you can see that it transitions from one scene to the next before the animation goes. So what you do is you can set a transition point in milliseconds. Let's set it at half a second. Oh, you can see the transition right before the doors close. 650 milliseconds. There we go. This isn't my favorite transition I've ever seen. It's way too long, but it works. One other thing that's important, I don't know why the audio fade style is set to this. I like using mine as a crossfade so that my audio, my voice is always there while the transition's happening. And now, we've got 2 scenes in our transitions. And by the way, if you want a little trade secret about transitions here, you can have a different transition per scene. If I right click on gameplay scene here and go to transition override, I can actually set a different transition specifically for when I transition to the gameplay scene. So for example, if I want a different transition for each scene, I can go and I can make one individually with a plus button over here, name it properly, and then set it as the transition override. Okay, secret over. I can start talking at full volume again. I hope my microphone even picked me up when I said that. And the last basic function that you should be aware of here is the audio mixer, which is pretty straightforward. Most of the time when you add a source, like for example, the one it's picking up here is the cam link. It's actually hearing the microphone on the camera here. When you add a source that also has audio with it, it's going to add it to your audio mixer right here. But, for example, display capture, capturing your display doesn't add your gameplay sound into it. And right now, we wouldn't hear any audio from the computer at all. So no gameplay audio, no music, no anything. There are 2 ways to add audio sources manually to your stream. One of them is to add an audio capture device. So because our gameplay would be computer audio that's outputted to our headphones, we're going to grab an audio output capture. We'll call it gameplay audio. And I would pretty much grab like my headphones or whatever your audio is actually coming out of, which for me would be my Go XLR system audio. So you can see over here, if I pull up someone's stream now, like pull up my boy Wacky Jackie here. Now you can see it's picking up his audio. You can still hear my webcam right here.
Yes.
And also the gameplay audio is getting picked up. The other way to do audio is one we're going to get into in a second because it's inside the settings, and honestly it's kind of a preferable way to do it. We'll do it in just a second. But an important trick about mixing audio with these faders that not a lot of people know. You'll notice that it goes from 0 at the top down to -infinity. That's just how the decibel scale works. Now the decibel scale is a logarithmic scale. And the way it works is that 6 dB in either direction will either half or double the audio levels. So for example, if Wacky Jackie is just way too loud and I want to cut the volume down in half, I'll go down to -6. Now he'll be half the volume. If I want to cut him in half again, I'll go to -12. Let's say I had him at -3 and I want to cut him in half. I'll bring it down to -9, and that will be exactly half the volume from -3. But I don't want the webcam volume at all. I don't want to capture my camera microphone. That's going to sound terrible. So I'm going to mute it, and I'm going to click this little gear, and I'm going to hit hide. And now it just cleans it right off. So let's finish this off. Let's jump into the last area that you need to know at least the basics of, and that is the settings. There are a lot of settings to go through, and I know it's overwhelming, but honestly, like 90 to 95% of the settings, I actually haven't changed. Most of them are just fine in the default settings. So let me go over the ones that you need to be aware of and how to change them. For the most part, you don't need to touch much in general. Let's go to stream. This is where you tell OBS where you're sending your stream to. So for example, if you're streaming on Twitch, you can either go into your Twitch settings and grab your stream key and type it in there, or you can hit connect account and actually sign into your Twitch account. Twitch is actually integrated into OBS, and that's the way I do it. I would recommend it, just like OBS does. Cool. Output. This is an important one. This is where you adjust the quality of your stream. This is also where you can fix a lot of problems if you're dropping frames. I would recommend going to advanced. It gives you a handful more options, and then only worry about the streaming tab here. That's all we're going to talk about. There are 3 things in here that you should be aware of first. One is the encoder. Are you going to use your CPU with X264, or are you going to use NVIDIA's NVENC encoder built into the GPU if you have an NVIDIA graphics card? Now, if you're running a dedicated streaming PC, X264 is going to look a tiny bit better, and you've got that CPU there anyway, you might as well use it. However, if you're on a single PC setup, rather than sharing your CPU between encoding and gameplay, you can set this dedicated encoder chip that's on your GPU. You can get a lot smoother PC and better gameplay performance. The next one that's important is the bit rate. This is the file size that you are sending to Twitch. The larger the file size, the better it looks. 6,000 is the maximum Twitch recommends. It's a pretty safe place to go to. However, before I got transcoding options as a partner, I actually set this to 4,500 because this also explains the file size that your viewers are going to be watching in if you don't have transcoding option. And I found that bringing it down to 4,500 made it a little bit easier for my viewers with bad internet to be able to watch. And then you've got your encoder preset here. If you're on NVENC, max quality is great. If you're on X264, medium is what you are kind of aiming for. Now with X264, the faster it is, the worse it looks, but the easier it is on your PC. So if you're set to medium, but you're dropping encoder frames, switch it to fast. You'll lose a little bit of quality, but you're not going to be dropping frames. Anything above medium is kind of overkill, and at that point you're adding a huge load to your PC with very negligible differences. Unless you have like a Threadripper PC, it's just not even worth it. Okay, audio. Now this is a better place for you to grab audio inputs. This little devices section is really the only section you need to worry about in here. Now you have 2 desktop inputs and 2 mic inputs. Your desktop sources are outputs, things that happen inside your computer that are sending out to speakers or sending out to your headphones. So for example, your gameplay will be in here. Exactly what we were looking at before. For me, it would be system audio. Or if you have separate outputs and you're using Voicemeeter or something like that and you want to grab your music separately, that would be there also. And you can see when I hit apply, we've got 2 brand new sources in here. But we'll rename number 2 music. There we go. And the real advantage of this is now you can have an audio source that's not filling up your sources over here. So it just kind of keeps things a little bit cleaner. Your mic inputs, however, are external devices that are going into your computer. For example, a microphone. Or if you're streaming your console gameplay and you've got your console going into a capture card, your capture card would be another thing you could find in here. However, you're probably grabbing your capture card in sources, so you don't really need to add it in again in an audio device. Video is quick and simple, but it's important that you understand your base canvas is the resolution of this canvas here. So you can see if I change this to 720p, everything gets cropped in because I just made this canvas smaller and these were scaled to 1080p. Let me change it back. However, if you're dropping frames, you need to lighten the load on the PC a little bit. You can change your output, what OBS sends to Twitch, down to 720p, and even change your FPS to 30 FPS. Now your computer is only encoding a 720p 30 FPS stream. And while yes, you will lose a little bit of quality going down to 720p 30, a smooth 720p 30 stream is a much better viewing experience than a choppy 1080-60 dropping packets of 6 frames at a time. And really, of all the settings, those are the important ones that you should know when you're starting. Once you get the hang of OBS, feel free to explore other settings. It's cool to know what you have in your toolbox, but I mean, you can take these settings I mentioned and you can run with them for a couple of years. You're totally fine. There is one cool trick that I want to show you in the settings, and that's hotkeys. You saw earlier I was switching between scenes by clicking on this, but if you're in the middle of a stream, you don't want to be grabbing your mouse, finding the right scene. Some people have dozens of scenes. So once I go to hotkeys in the settings, I can go to my gameplay scene right here. And you can see there's an option for switch to scene. I'm going to set that as left brace. And then I'm going to go to my intermission scene. I'm going to set that one as the end brace. And now, and let's go back. Voila! Switch to scene hotkeys. If you don't have a Stream Deck, which obviously is a better alternative than that, this is a great way to easily switch between scenes right on your keyboard. So, by the way, if any of you guys are beginners and you enjoyed this video, if you found this really helpful, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you want me to make another video that's about more advanced tips and tricks in OBS to help you kind of take your stream to the next level, let me know in the comments down below. Again, I do stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so if you have some questions that maybe I missed, feel free to hit me up on there. But I hope this helped, and as always, happy streaming. Can you make it?
I didn't have any. Yeah, well, I'm putting on a shirt now.
Are you playing shitless?
Yeah, dude, full disclosure, I'm butt naked right now.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the
Now
email.
I have a shirt on. Now I have a shirt on. Don't worry.
You still butt naked though.
Adam Maripos Vox here, and I am in the middle of completely overhauling my entire streaming setup. I have not streamed in months up until last night at the time of recording, and we had a fantastic return to streaming. And I'm going to be doing a lot of different stream setups. You've already seen me build that RGB glowing streaming PC in the background. We've got a few more coming, and we've got a lot of streaming content in the works. With that, I'm doing a tutorial here sponsored by Nerd or Die on how I set up my insane streaming layout and overlays and all of that you all saw in my Twitch stream over at twitch.tv/eposvox. And we're going to be getting to it thanks to Nerd or Die. So link to them that tells them I sent you will be in the description below. Be sure you check it out. I am very excited for this tutorial. Alright, since today's tutorial is of course sponsored by Nerd or Die, we will be picking out and utilizing some of their presets and stream packages that you can get starting at $0. They do have some free resources on the site and some tutorials of their own, but we're going to check out some of the paid options and see what you get and how to set them up. But first we need to set up OBS. Now I am using OBS to record this tutorial, of course, but I do have a separate instance launched, and we are just going to make a brand new profile for my Twitch setup here. Actually, I have a Twitch profile. I'm going to delete it. It was a test. I don't need it. You may notice from time to time when I'm setting this stuff up, I have a lot of stupid scene collections from when I'm testing stuff. But we're just gonna start from scratch. And then same thing, new profile, Twitch, 2019. I like to keep them named the same to match them up and always know which ones I'm using. Go up in here to the settings. Now we are going to be doing mostly 1080p based streaming. So while my main desktop is 4K, I'm going to leave it at 1080p for now. And we are going to be streaming. I'm going to start my test streaming at 1600 by 900 and 59.94 frames per second, of course. Now, you can play around with different scaling and things like that, and actually I am going to leave the base resolution 1080p so I can record full res recordings. But there is a difference between putting your scaling here in the video settings and in the output tab. If you go under advanced, you can actually tell it to rescale the output. There is actually a difference in that, and that if you do it in the output settings, that actually puts that workload on the computer or on the encoder versus putting it on just your graphics card. So if you're running into performance issues, it might be worth just dropping it down in here and unchecking it in output settings. I should be fine, but it's worth noting. Alright, so we're going to focus on streaming settings here. I will be using X264 in this instance, although I do have another machine that has an NVIDIA RTX card that I would be using NVENC for. But for now, we're going to be using that. We're going to put CBR. It is going to be 6K minus the default audio is 160, so 5840, I believe. Yeah, do keep in mind that max Twitch bitrate recommendation is actually video plus audio, and you can technically send 6K video, but you can run into some issues. That's fine. We're going to drop it down to medium. Actually, we're going to do fast for now, just to keep it safe. I'm going to leave the rest of these blank. Keyframe interval set to 2, because this is going to Twitch. Recording, we are going to do full resolution recordings. I'm going to set it to my dedicated recording drive. That's over here in F. Record. I'm going to make a new folder. Actually, I have a folder here called Twitch. That way I know these are specifically my Twitch settings. Now, I am going to use MKV, because if things crash or whatever, I can still use the file. I'm going to set it up to record at least 5 audio tracks. And we're going to use the NVENC encoder. Default resolution, I'm going to come over here to CQP, and that's going to be 14, which is kind of visually lossless-ish. And then under preset, high quality, profile, high, and just going to leave the rest on defaults at the moment. Under audio, I'm going to leave the default track for Twitch at 160 bitrate, so I'm going to call this Twitch down mix. But then for the others, these will be my recording tracks. So I'm going to set them the highest that it will let me, which is of course 320 kilobits per second. And these will be my other settings. So we're going to have mic, desktop, console if I have a game console input, Discord, and so on. And then we are going to set up a replay buffer so I can save out specific clips a lot easier. We're going to set it to a 45-second duration and hit apply, and it will do what it can to maintain a replay buffer of 45 seconds. You will, of course, if you're using a replay buffer, need to come in here and set a hotkey for saving the replay buffer. You don't need a hotkey for starting and stopping it, but for actually saving the replay buffer, which is right here. I already have a button on my Elgato Stream Deck, so I'm going to press it. Alt F8 is apparently it. I'm going to hit apply, and we're good to go. Despite what other tutorials may tell you, partial and 601 and NV12 are the best settings when you're live streaming to Twitch. You can kick it up to 709, kick it up to full. You can run into some issues on some web browsers playing back the stream with regards to color representation. So, we've got OBS configured to live stream to Twitch. Even though we don't have anything in it, we're going to get set into that. So, we want to make a couple default scenes here. So, this is scene 1. I'm going to add this and make it desktop. And I'm just going to add a display capture. We're going to add one. It's going to be webcam. Hello. I do not have my main light on. My head is hurting. I don't want it on, so it's going to be a little dark in here today. You can see the kitty playing behind me. Hello, kitty. Now we're going to start building out our layout. We could set up some other scenes, but for now we're going to do this. So you can browse nerdordie.com. I do have an affiliate link that, well, it's not an affiliate. Well, I guess technically it is an affiliate link, but a link since they're sponsoring me to let them know that I sent you and all that good stuff. So be sure to use that if you want to go check out their stuff. You can hit shop now or check out their, top layouts here. And then they have links for their tutorials and stuff. We're going to hit shop now. And you can sort by popularity, price, or you can sort by categories because they have backgrounds, overlays, custom scripting, Twitch panels, alerts, yada, yada, yada. I've actually picked out a few that I really like. That is, of course, the Retrowave stream package, since, a lot of my channel and branding is 80s and 90s and 2000s retro stuff. This obviously appeals to me, even if I don't want to use the super cliche graphic that this is. That's overdone at this point, but I could use some of the elements. Pretty Sprite sound effects. They have some pretty cool sound effects. Then there is this cool little alert system that scrolls in the name. Just does a cool little effect with the text there. I like that a lot. I may use that. We've got these overlays and widgets that have this little kind of like pixel confetti effect. I kind of like that. And then we have this interface one, which is all like super hacker theme or something, which is kind of cool. We may use that. Now I am going to start with the Retrowave package, and we will build from there. So I may not use all of these in this video. Now, when you check out a package, you will be given screenshots as to what's in it. So you can view here, okay, we've got kind of an overlay, and it's got new follower, subscriber, yada yada layouts. It's got stream starting and be right back screens you can customize. You've got different color options. You've got specific alert types you can choose, so you don't got to use this specific one. You can, bounce them around if you like. Kind of neat. You've got panels that you can use, including Photoshop files, so you can actually manually edit them yourself if you have a Photoshop compatible program and know how to use it. And then there's this cool little, I believe this is a stinger transition. And then there's lots of information, usually on pretty much all of these I've looked at, with regards to what they have, including video demos and other related stuff. Now, when you go to buy it, there's actually a few different options. You can buy everything, or you can buy just the alerts, or you can buy just the overlays, or there's free extras you can get, and you can tell it, I don't want to pay anything. I recommend supporting the people who make this and supporting Nerd or Die for distributing it, but that is an option available to you. I am going to start with the full stream package for this one, and maybe we'll bit and piece some of these together. I'm going to add it to my cart. That is the full stream package we are going to check out. Upon checking out and completing your purchase, you will be given a set of download links. You do have limited downloads, so keep track of these original zip files, because you can technically run out of them. But you will be given download files for your specific package that you chose. So, for example, the Stinger and free extras are a separate download from the overlays, which are a separate download from the alerts, but you can download them all here. So I'm going to save